سناقيل ستوديو إزغيا زيزاو لوتيزو برودكسيون.
Howdy, welcome back to my channel. This is Diana Chu here at Slow Gaze. I am trying really hard to not look at myself in the screen, but actually pivot and look at the actual camera. So I'm so sorry. I got a comment saying that it's a little distracting because all my previous videos I've been watching the screen to make sure that I'm like in frame and doing the right things with my face. When I look at myself, it looks like I'm looking straight off into the distance, and it's a little distracting. So I'm gonna try to not do this and do this. Hopefully that makes a difference for y'all. I'm also trying really hard to save up, and that's why a low buy is exciting, because I'm like trying to save up for a good video vlogging camera and something that can give me like an actual lens to look into instead of just a little pinhole on my iPhone 7. This is from many years ago, and it's been serving me pretty well, surprisingly. Hopefully though, this means that I can only do more things and do better with my channel as I keep going. So thank you for your support so far. I am in full fall garb today because it is so cold. It is so cold here in Milwaukee. It feels like the fall has just descended upon us, and in true form, I put on my pumpkin spice inspired look. I'm using the Melt Cosmetics 27 palette because even though I decluttered it, I decided to just pick it up because it hasn't been given to friends and family yet. I haven't seen too many people yet. I've been trying to send boxes out to people. I think that brown is my color. I would love to hear, like, this color here. I'm trying to decide whether or not to keep this. So let me stand up because I look like I look a little monkish in the best way. This is me in my cocoon. I actually have a few layers on here. There's like a tie-dye green thing that's peeking out from this Everlane Cashmere that's actually like a nice mahogany brown. But then this little like cotton canvas, ooh, gotta scoop back in. This cotton canvas jacket actually has a very nice cut in that it just folds over to form the lapels. It's very casual in that way, but then it drapes down and you have these lovely voluminous pockets. The sleeves aren't too long on me because I have shorter arms, and it just feels like a really nice draping effect, but in a thick cotton. So I feel both like I can do any kind of parkour that I want to under like a waterfall and I'd still be fine, or I also feel like I'm snug and like in a warm blanket that has a little bit more polish than something that my cat threw up on. So this is giving me a lot of good vibes, but I'm not sure that this color is good. Like, same with my safari top that I was wearing in my Melt Cosmetics blush duo review. It feels a little bit too green, and I wear green all right. Like, I love wearing those poopy green chartreuse colors, but somehow when you mix in a little bit of brown or a little bit of white and gray, it starts to make my skin tone not so lively. So that's why I'm wearing very warm toned makeup to kind of change it. If I take this off, I think the entire vibe changes. This has a lot of red in it, and it's starting to warm up my complexion. I think that it works well with my darker hair, you know, so I'm really liking this outfit. I have some earrings on that are from Lauren Stewart, made in Los Angeles. There's a little chain link here and then an extra chain that dangles. And I'm gonna head to the post office, but the rest of this vlog will be camping. I'm showing up very polished today, but you'll probably see me as I pack. I am packing a little bit of makeup, mostly skincare, but I want to have like polished brows and to feel a little bit myself. So I'll be telling you what I'm packing there. I'm going with my husband Ben, and then I'm meeting up with two friends on the Outer Banks of West Michigan. We're just driving right down around Chicago and then up to Michigan and stopping at Warren State Park. So I'm really excited about this. I've never done a camping trip where we're meeting two other friends. One of them is pregnant, they're expecting, and it's so exciting. We've traveled to Hong Kong before as like a quadruplet. as a team, as a gang. So I know that we can all get along, you know, on a long distance flight, on a long distance journey, but we don't get to see them as much because they are off on their wonderful lives. We got to like pick out a camping spot. You can see a picture of it from like 2013 to see like which trash can you're gonna get and how far you are from the bathrooms. I think it's great. So you can really pick your own adventure and be very safe during these times that are still vulnerable, to say the least. Now is as good a time as any to show you the makeup that I'm going to be bringing on my little packing trip. Retro looking bag, but I love that I can see what's inside. And yes, I'm bringing blush. I just like the idea of having a little bit of blush to feel like I'm not so dead. But the rest is basically skincare-y stuff. You folks have seen this all before. I have my Ilia skin tint. Everything has been basically featured on my channel already, but if you are new to my routine, I always start with a little bit of sunscreen. It's always very satisfying to shake that. Then I put on my Drunk Elephant D-Bronzi drops so I feel less dead. This is a Grown Alchemist moisturizer that I'm playing with, so I usually mix that with my sunscreen, and then Grown Alchemist primer goes on next. I love that it says anti-pollution. Don't expect to see too much pollution out on the shores of Michigan, but hey, it feels like a great primer. The Super Serum Skin Tint, I really think I've been using this more than concealer recently, so that's been shocking to me, but it's always an added layer of 40 SPF, so I love that. And then from here I have the cosmetics. This is actually just a retractable brush from BareMinerals. Let's see if I can open it. I can! Doesn't it look like a little dessert? It just looks like it's filled like a pirouette or something where I can just chomp on it and it's gonna be delicious. But I like to use a little brush for my face, especially if I'm doing this mostly without a mirror. But that's why I brought this Patrick Ta Compact. It's in She's So LA, and I love this because it does have the mirror. And I don't need to use the powder as much, but I could use that as an eyeshadow. And then I could use this just for a little tiny, very natural flush on the cheeks to feel like I'm a little bit awake once I have my base on. It'll be very dewy, it'll be really natural. Just gonna do my brows with some brow pomade, so it's the most natural. And then this is the Chanel Chicness color. It's very similar to the Boy color, but I think it's more brown. So overall I'm gonna be extremely natural, but the finish will be glossy, dreamy, and a little bit glass skin. I'm sure I could probably get hit in the face with a pine needle and it'll stick to my face all day. It's cooled down quite a bit, so I'm very excited to get cozy, not feel like my makeup is melting off or it's not moving around. Probably won't even do eyeshadow, honestly. So that's my little kit. Might be more or less than what you're used to bringing for an active trip. I mean, my friends were so close. Like I used to work with my friend for a while and was actually an intern with her. And I mean, they're not people who would judge my face just for who, you know, I am or what I look like. They've seen me all types of ways. Yeah, this is all for me. I just feel like I want to feel a little bit more polished. And I'm also really excited about seeing people out in the world. So this is kind of my little like, ooh, I get to see people, they get to see me, and I get to like look a little bit like my best. Good morning, it's camping day. I have my slacks on still. They're really comfy, actually. They're just comfy Dockers. And then I like wearing a belt so that I don't feel so sloppy and I feel like I can like really stuff my pockets if I have to. And then I'm layering up. And then my flannel, that's been squished and I haven't had time to really iron out the wrinkles here, but also with a little bandana. This is my bag as it is right now. I got some mouthwash. I have my lighters and a comb in here, hair clip, and then a nice shawl that I love to bring with me. I'm trying to finish up Moby Dick, so I'm bringing that with me. There's my makeup bag, my tarot cards, cyanotypes that we're gonna do, some wet wipes, and then tampons. We got my underwear and extra socks in there. I do have my clothes in a different basket over here. Some extra towels and tie-dye, a lot of just different weird things that I think are heavier weight. And then a nice wool coat that I thrifted. I think it's like a Mounties coat or something. What is it? Scouts of America official jacket. So it's all wool. You know it's going to be weatherproof. I love it. I love it, love it, love it. Even these buttons, aren't they so cute? And then I have this redhead hunting jacket that, this thing is wild. I'm not bringing that purse that's just on the bed. Isn't this thing wild? It is a hunting vest, and these are meant for cartridges and bullet shells. I don't use it as such, but it also has this giant pocket in the back, which I love because then I could just stuff it with whatever things. I think it's supposed to be for like game, like maybe if you do catch a duck and you don't really catch ducks, you hunt them. Anyway.
2 VCRs, 3 picture books, old newspapers and parachutes, camcorder captured love, life as it was when I was born, peering out to big skies by the ocean of my mind. I cleanse my spirit as it flies. Images of our lives, souvenirs of the soul, colors so warm, so bright. Images of heroes past, motion pictures on the wall, moments that meant so much. And I stare at my own eyes, cool loving mother in paradise. Sky blue jacket, cobble roads, songs of the south, joys of old. And I guess I'm always ready to see the world the way it was. If only I could simply go back. Soothing orange shades of light inside the four walls of my world, drifting in a haze of thoughts, down a wide-angled road on my own. The ocean sky lies overhead, cloud of wind where we once were. In my mind it feels so real, except that you are there.
So Ben is a forager, and he loves to go into the woods looking for chanterelle mushrooms, morel mushrooms, and his latest foray is sumac berries. These are wild to Wisconsin. You usually find them in highways, apparently. He was into elderflower berries. Elderflowers, excuse me. You can comb off their little beautiful, sweet floral, white, 4-petaled flowers, soak them, and make a simple syrup that's gorgeous.
Isn't there a bag?
Here's a bag. Here they are. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Just stunning color. I think these are actually the berries. They're not the flowers. Well, good morning. It is a Monday morning. We're back from the weekend. We got rained out, basically. Let's see if I can move in. Camping got cut short. I am so knackered. I am so tired from all that walking through sand dunes. It felt like we were in a totally different landscape. I'm trying to figure out why there's a hair stuck to my forehead and it just wants to stay. Anyway, I'm trying to get like office ready, if you know what I mean. I have my hair curling iron plugged in, so I tried to curl my hair just very half-assedly, and then I'm wearing a new shirt and some new pants that I just haven't worn yet. You know, I bought them before the low buy, but I haven't worn them yet because it wasn't autumn. These are a size 2, surprisingly. I mean, are meant to fit large and supposed to have that like dad 90s jean. They have the tailoring and the pleats in the front, which I like, but they don't completely pleat all the way down. So when I fold up my pants and I store them, it doesn't totally F up the pleat down here, and I don't have to re-iron them. So I like that there's that little detail up front, and it makes the waist a little bit more flattering. But just looking at these in the mirror, they look fuddy-duddy, and it's fine because they're very comfortable. I'd rather wear like a 100% cotton and something that has a little bit of give, well, a lot of bit of give, and feel like I'm still being polished whilst wearing something so comfy that they're basically sweatpants. I know that I could probably style this with a nice belt, and then I'm wearing a men's Zara shirt. I'm trying not to buy from Zara anymore, but this was just one of the final pieces of print that I thought it's really hard to find good prints sometimes, and that's kind of where my morals wave, because I know that it's just a one-off piece that I can't afford and that I would love for a long time. And it's their large fit. I have some Zara men's shirts that are much more fitted, slim fits, and I wear those very casually as well, but they're kind of my statement pieces. They're my like vacation mode vibe pieces. So this has a beautiful bandana print, and I actually love this over shorts or maybe even a skirt. It's just really well done, and it's all printed. It's not sewn together bandanas. This Paisley print is so popular now. High street culture, hip hop culture, but previously it was part of, cowboy culture, and Paisleys were not cool. Anything in black and white instantly becomes a little bit cooler, a little bit edgier, and I just kind of like the way that they reinterpreted the print. So this is me going into Monday morning. I have a big meeting right at 9 a.m. and needless to say, I'm not quite prepared for it, but hey. And welcome to the other side of my master bedroom. I would love to, we put blinds in. This section didn't come with any kind of curtains or blinds, and so I'd love to put actual drape curtains. There's space above it, and this very awkward pipe here, which has a little bit of a stand, so we put nightstand things, my books and some of Ben's nightly things. That's where I photograph a lot of my Depop stuff, so my iron's out there, and you could see that I have like my, here she is, my Dyson to vacuum things up, things to stuff my bags with, some shoes that need to get photographed, and I usually just set it up so that my ring light is facing that corkboard. Anyway, I love this blue. It feels really calming to me, but it's basically the only thing that's, it draws a lot away from the overall whiteness of this room. We also have a, gosh, I have all my camping stuff out, but we also have a quilt that's blue and white that a friend made for our wedding. So this is our dresser. My dresser. This is my dresser from IKEA. I really am not like a furniture freak. I do enjoy a well-built thing, and I really enjoy, looking at things, but I'm still maybe a little bit in the college mentality of if I can get it cheaper, if it's functional, I'm gonna make it work. And I love making things just work better, but the older I get and the more I'm able to, suss out my style and suss out what I'm able to afford and why, and maybe focus on things that maybe are actually less decorative, Diana, and a lot less, bougie in their own small way. Like, these are very small decorative ornaments that I have invested in, and maybe if I had invested more in an actual statement piece or something that has different textures, actual architectural shape, maybe I would need none of that. So I'm really trying to take a look at what I have, and there's nothing wrong with this dresser. I actually love that the pull tabs are like this. I have my t-shirts all up in here. I actually have quite a few graphic shirts. It looks like this most days. Some days it gets a little wild, but and then I guess I have some belts over here, a lot of sunglasses. I'm trying to get rid of sunglasses, but this is already past a cull. Bandanas, I do wear them, and then some bow ties, I guess. And these are my scarves. very red tones. And then here I have some books and extra perfume and a few jewelry boxes. These are empty, but this one has like costume jewelry. Anyway, I'm trying to rejig this space. It looks a little bit austere. It might look good for Instagram, you know, when things all are tonal and they have the golds and the hits of taupes, and it just feels a little bit cozy. I also have to clean the back of the wall there. You know, same with this. There's just no color, and it's looking austere, and I'm not in love with it, but it definitely feels a lot cleaner than what I had. And then I have a tiny little mirror that I found at Goodwill. So that's basically the space. You can see it behind me there. Nothing too inventive, just trying to suss it out. You know, now that I'm on YouTube and now that I'm trying to figure out my life a little bit more publicly, I suppose, if you can call this a public forum, even though I am hidden in the depths of the internet, it's there for people to see if they want. Now that I'm in this kind of space, it is interesting to think about what voices crop up that aren't necessarily mine, but do have, you know, sway over what I think. So I'm trying out some things that just look like the right thing to do or look like the Instagrammable thing to do, but there's so much more hidden behind, I guess, my style and my possessions that I would love to experiment with. So I'm going to put a little bit more concealer on these spots that just won't go away, and then start the day. The car shot. I'm curious how the audio will turn out for this, but welcome to the interior of my Mazda. In the back you will see plenty of donation items. I have been decluttering, as I've mentioned, time and time again, and a lot is going on my Depop, and a lot of it is not going on my Depop. This car has been everywhere. St. Louis to Las Vegas, Baltimore to Colorado, down at Austin, Texas, El Paso, and then back up through Virginia and Tennessee. I'm not like a car person. I don't really care what I'm driving as long as it's safe. A bigger car is nice for Wisconsin weather, especially with a four-wheel drive. Otherwise, I don't keep it particularly clean. There's like a nice little heaping of dust. I don't like keep trash on the bottom of my car, but I also don't like keep it so clean that I could eat a fried egg on top of from my dashboard. You know, like there's such a spectrum of people on how they treat their cars. I find it fascinating. There's no judgment. I really think it's so interesting because we spend so much time in our cars. Some people are anal about how clean it is, and some people, you know, it really is a vehicle. It gets you around. It holds stuff. It's a vessel. So I'm headed to the post office, dropping off one more Depop. It is a tiny pair of earrings in this box, but I've been holding on to all the boxes that I've been getting. Because of my low buy, I'm also not getting that many boxes in, so I'm trying really hard to use what I have and go from there. So off I go. I will talk to you soon. This chickadee is coming with me to the post office. I got this mask from Everlane and I love it because it fits both my face, which is much rounder and smaller, and it fits Ben's face perfectly, and it doesn't fog up his glasses. At the start of the pandemic, I rushed to make some cotton masks out of fabric I already had, and they had the tie back kind of like in the surgical style, but those are such a pain with longer hair. So I'm glad to have the ear loops. Welcome to my living room. I had to quickly film because I have so many thoughts in my brain, and I've been trying to take notes and be good, especially when it comes to the check-ins. I'm going to try to post my first low buy month check-in soon, before September ends, which is very soon. It's ridiculous. Busy camping and doing other things. So this is my living room. I have the kitchen over there with a lot of things on the fridge. We have Blue Willow china back behind me, gifted from my in-laws, and some magazines here. I love magazines, and I used to subscribe to so many of them. Some of my favorites, especially now, are GQ Style, Times Style magazine. I mean, I love a good Vogue, and Dazed and Confused is always radical. Didn't love Cosmo or Self or anything that was too much women's interest. Love a Real Simple, love a Martha Stewart magazine. What I meant to say is that I had so many thoughts about my low buy and decluttering, because let me just turn you around. That's a whole box of books DVDs, and then I have records over there that Ben and I are trying to figure out right now. We're going to send them off to a half-price bookstore. We could get just a hint of cash back. This is Yukon. Hi, bud. How are your snacks? Fabulous. Gourmet. He's a gourmet chef. So camping was great. I feel completely shattered and knackered from that experience. We got rained out, but we proved ourselves by purchasing a tarp from the little store there out in Warren Dunes. I highly recommend. We were on the eastern side of Lake Michigan and it was beautiful out there. It felt like we were in the sands of Dubai or whatnot. It was really beautiful. It did weird me out a little bit being around so many people, even though our campsites were distanced enough, and we did have a pretty good rotation of campers, even though we were there for just 2 nights. There were people with RVs and who had Airstreams and rugs and bicycles and just so many different accoutrements. It was pretty amazing to see the spread, but it did freak me out a little bit, just COVID times, going to the same communal bathroom or just having to walk around and see a lot of people not wearing masks. I know we were outside, but we tried to, put our masks on whenever we saw someone on a trail. But then when it came to the actual dunes and the trails, it felt like no one was there. It was magical, and hopefully you could see it by the footage. I have so many thoughts, and maybe this is me just taking notes for myself for later around consumption and commitment. Basically monogamy with our stuff, because we are monogamous in most cases with longtime partners, domestic partners, or spouses, or that type of relationship is one that we usually know more often than not. Like, choose a pet or choose an animal buddy. We don't say, oh wow, we can return this animal, right? It's inhumane and completely like a ridiculous thought. We try to find a life friend, basically a companion that we're going to love and cherish no matter what. Same with our friends that we choose. We don't think of trying necessarily to make friends, invest in friends, and then dispose of them or declutter them. Obviously, if you're in a toxic relationship or you cannot provide for a pet or a friend or a spouse, these are very different circumstances that I'm talking about. But what I'm trying to say is that we have gotten into a consumerist culture and a capitalist system here, especially in the States. I won't speak for anywhere else necessarily, but where we think that we can just make relationships with our stuff in a disposable way, and actually we don't have any commitment to our stuff. We think that, we'll try it and then we'll dispose of it. There's no feeling that there's an obligation to make this work or mend it or tailor it, or all of these ideas around how we would workshop a friendship. If I have something that isn't the perfect color green, I might go and try to find it somewhere else and buy it somewhere else, instead of saying, why isn't this the perfect green? I'm just gonna make it work. There's such a mentality shift that needs to happen collectively, but also in my brain, where I'm like, okay, I'm trying to find the perfect thing, and the language on YouTube is all about like ride or die as well. Finding the ride or die one product, and it involves going through so many different products in order to have that kind of sensibility first. And then the idea that, I've tried 10 million things, I can confidently say that this thing works for me. Instead of saying, I'm going to try to do my research, not spend too much time on it, but make an educated decision. And then once I have it, I'm going to commit to it. I think I've fallen into that a little bit, or a lot of it, especially with this low buy and the idea that if I bring in something into my world, it should be very catered to me. And that can sometimes translate into I have to find the perfect thing. And that is also a fallacy. So I'm trying to find that balance, finding things that work for me and knowing myself. And that's why I guess the slow gaze thing is so important to reframe every time, even for myself. And instead of just scrolling on the couch, printing these things out, a picture of green pants. I don't know why I'm so obsessed with green. Taking a picture of the green pants and holding it up to every single item I own in my wardrobe. Already a step I can take versus just looking externally all the time. So I guess with that, I'm gonna try to commit to committing to my stuff a little bit more, not try to always find the perfect thing. The argument for less is more also comes with the idea of luxury. If you can afford to choose minimalism in your life, you can probably afford to buy the more expensive thing less frequently versus, investing in fast fashion. I also get into the rut of saying, oh, it's gonna be perfect, it's going to be more expensive but higher quality, and so I can pay more for it. That's just what marketing is telling me is the better thing. Oftentimes I can find something just as good, maybe even higher quality if it's vintage, usually secondhand. I don't need to spend hundreds of dollars on a new designer thing, thinking that that will be the holy grail item that'll get me through, years and years and years. It could, but I also would have spent hundreds of dollars on it just to lull myself into the idea that it's gonna be the perfect thing. I've just been ranting this whole time. I also don't want to let go of the dialogue. The world right now, we're still very much in turmoil. I just finished How to Be an Anti-Racist, that book, which I thought was so helpful in framing my understanding and bringing new language into my head. Trying to get onto more James Baldwin. I have a couple books that I'm trying to finish. I have Evicted, which is set here in Milwaukee, which I think is so interesting, but that should be required reading, especially if you live in the States. I finished reading We Go and Be Alright, Locking Up Our Own, queued up next, and I have to bring up voting. If you live in the States and you are eligible to vote, but not sure who you want to back or don't feel good about backing anyone, I hear you. I totally hear you, and I'm asking you to hear me just to say that opting out is a choice, but it's also opting out of our democracy. And I think that if you do plan to vote, it is so much harder now. You can't just show up and say, oh, I was registered to vote in 2016 and just think everything's gonna go smoothly if you have a mask in hand. Really make a plan to vote. So that would involve calling your local polling place where you think you're gonna end up, if it's the elementary school or the library down the road, and just calling and saying, hey, am I registered? Or looking it up online, saying, hey, I'm gonna come in at this time right after work. Are you supporting this way of me voting? Because you could find A, that nobody picks up even if you call ahead of time, months ahead of time. B, your absentee vote ballot request might not arrive in time or get sent back in time. C, maybe that polling place closes or changes because based on volunteers, maybe like a larger arena that opens up last minute. We don't know. It's all gonna change, and unfortunately, it's just not enough to show up. It also might involve going to a place somewhere far away, and you might have to figure out transport, make sure there's gas in your car, make sure you have snacks and a winter coat and extra masks and chairs. There might be ways to help, obviously, yourself get to the polls, but also your friends or your family or people that might be in your neighborhood that can't get to polls for certain reasons. So I just urge you to take a look, all the plan A's through Z's that you can make, even if you're not quite sure if you're going. I urge you to go, but if you're not sure, it's your decision. I won't go into politics or anything really on my channel. I just wanted to bring that bipartisan or nonpartisan issue up because somehow it has become a political issue even to vote. I think it's healthy to bring up things that are on my mind and things that are maybe a little bit touchy or people feel less comfortable airing their opinions, especially publicly or on YouTube. But I think it's really healthy because I'm a citizen, I live here and I care. I want to appeal to whoever's listening, and I'm all ears too, or help me understand different points of view. So let's have a chat if you wanted to. I don't really support hate comments, and I'm definitely trying to be the best ally that I can to marginalized people of color, black folk, brown bodies, transgendered lives. I'm not going to enumerate everybody that I support because I support humankind, but I do support humankind. So if you have a kind comment to say or a constructive thing to bring up, I'd love to talk to you down in the comments below. I'm just saying that I'm here and I'm open and I'm always reading your comments. So with that, I think I can stop this here. It is Tuesday? No, it's Wednesday. Ben's birthday is coming up on Monday, so we're going to see his parents. They're gonna have a great steak dinner for us, and it's gonna be amazing. So that will be my weekend. Hopefully you are being safe and having a wonderful start of fall. It's great because Ben's birthday starts on September 21st, which is the Earth, Wind, Fire song. It's like he was born with a theme song. So I'll never forget Ben's birthday. It also happens to fall on the fall solstice? No, the equinox, right? It marks the beginning of autumn. And we're already having some pumpkin spice coffee in our house. We're already seeing the leaves kind of turn. We're a little bit farther north than I guess a lot of people. I wish you a happy fall. Every Wednesday I post at 11 a.m. Central Time. That's the main event, I suppose. That's my main content. It's always going to be beauty or something around appearance and presentation. Friday and Sundays I also post when I can some bonus content at 11 a.m. also Central Time. That will be maybe more experimental videos or videos that I think either I'm really excited to create or stuff around minimalism and that journey. This is the last thing I'll say. I've been ranting for a while. Like Selena Gomez's Rare Beauty, like I have no interest in buying that. Not because I have anything against Selena, but I just like don't follow her. But I'm just not interested in makeup right now. It's so strange. Like I started my low buy and then all of a sudden it just dropped off. My idea of needing more palettes, it just like dropped off. And I'm really grateful for that. And I'll talk about that in my check-in. I don't want to become a channel or start this channel and then find myself on the bandwagon makes me have to buy new things. I just don't want to have to be that channel that has to invest so much money into new product and shopping the newest thing that comes out and the releases just to be able to make one video. I have only gotten such positive feedback and comments so far, so I really, really appreciate you watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe or consider it. It means a lot to me and it really helps my little channel grow. I'm trying my best to do slow beauty and slow gazing inwards content. I'm on a minimalist journey. If you haven't seen my low buy 6-month announcement or my first vlog, I will link them down below. I'm also on Depop. I've been posting a lot of stuff on there and it's been pretty lucrative, but I linked my Depop down below. I'm also at The Slow Gaze and I'm on Instagram. So hit me up with what other content you'd like me to see or if there's anything that can make my vlogs a little more interesting to you. And I hope you're having a wonderful morning, noon, night, happy hour, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being with me until this time. I'm gonna go have some lunch now. Adios. What kind of mushrooms are these?
Chanterelles.
Chanterelles. We have an Italian sausage, Tracklemans, mustard, some kraut, pickle,